everything that went down.
All right, buddy. So let's talk about this. If the playoffs started today, it would have started today, correct? And then you believe the New York Rangers would have been in and facing the Boston Bruins. So take us on this imaginary journey that you're on.
No, I mean, I do. I think that, with the way the team was going, even without Kreider, I think that they would have ultimately snuck us. I mean, you look at the teams that they were going against for those final couple of spots. It was going to be, Carolina, Columbus, and the Islanders. It seems like those. Well, and Florida. I'm looking at the standings now. Those were the 5 teams that were fighting final 2 spots. It looked like, and at the end of the day, obviously, the Rangers were real hot. I like the way that they were gelling. They had Shesterkin in there, who was just hot. They were going to bring Andre Miller, which, you hope would have helped, solidified the defense there. I know that's a lot to put on the young kid. If he probably would have went down to the AHL, but I think he would have been up eventually with this team. And, I think they had some good mojo going. Columbus was injured. I think they were a team that probably would have fell off at the end there. And then the other 2 teams in there, I don't think Florida would have made it. I just had no faith in them this year. And then it would have come down to Carolina and the Islanders. And for my fake sort of playoff standings, I wanted to put the Islanders in the playoffs for something I have later on in the playoffs. Carolina is sort of a boring team to have in there. So I think having the Islanders in there in the other bracket, would lead to something interesting later on. But, it's sad to look at what could have been. But, I want to come up with something fun and funny for the fan base because, if this, North Dakota thing doesn't happen, which, like you said, it probably isn't going to happen. We're going to be without the playoffs this year. And I think that there would have been some great on the stretch. And then into the playoffs, like Boston was the, best team, in the league by far. And if the Rangers would have gotten in and they would have played them in the first round, it would have been a tough mountain to climb. But, I think with the way the Rangers were playing, look, you saw what happened with, Columbus last year against the Lightning. So anything can happen. And I think we were robbed of some great memories. So I want to do my part. Look, we're content creators here, me and you, whether it's a podcast or blogs or whatever it is we're doing. So, I'm trying to do my part here to sort of brighten everybody's day, put a smile on their face, and come up with like some fake playoff scenarios and games and fun little bits.
Well, I have a question about this first game here against the Bruins. In your notes here, Michael Haley replaced Capo Caco in the lineup to give the team what Coach Quinn called a veteran presence in the lineup. KD, can you talk about that decision by Coach Quinn?
Well, if we look at what's gone on all year, with Coach Quinn, he sort of defers to the veteran, at least initially, whether it was in the regular season early on and now in the playoffs. So, I think that it might have been something that, Haley obviously was injured, but, in my fantasy land scenario, he miraculously recovered and was ready to go. And Quinn wanted that veteran presence, that sort of, little bite in the lineup, as Tortorella used to call it. And obviously, it helped as the Rangers came away with the big 2-1 win.
Yes, and I see Panarin scored both goals, which is good stuff. The other interesting thing about this game, too, is Quinn played all 3 goalies. And you said Georgiev took the first, Hank took the second, and Shesty, the closer, finished the game out in third. What's your take on Coach Quinn doing that?
Look, man, they had the 3-headed monster this year for a reason. It was to get them all ready for the playoffs. And, it may be unconventional, but, whatever it takes to win, whether it's, 3 goalies or Michael Haley in the lineup, Quinn is a magician out there. I think he's one of the great minds in the NHL. And these are the creative things that the guy can come up with.
And you see you said they combined for 42 saves, all three of them. So the Rangers obviously continued not keeping their shots down. Big key play of the game, you stated here, was that Brad Marchand was assessed a 5-minute major and a game misconduct after attempting retribution against Pavel Buchnevich. Snoochie Boochies for a regular season cross-check in the back. Can you talk about that incident?
Yeah, I don't think Marchand was real happy about the press, the negative press that he got after being cross-checked from behind by Buchnevich. A soft European player, and he wanted to seek the retribution of Fortunately for the Rangers, the refs were watching, and we got the 5-minute major, and Panarin took advantage.
And what's your feelings for game 2?
I think the Bruins are gonna be a little angry at how they came out in game 1. I think that they're probably I think they're probably gonna run over the Rangers. That's what I'm thinking.
Are you gonna be able to keep this up?
Oh, I can keep. I actually did this. It's funny. I forgot that I had done this. Someone reminded me on Twitter that I had done this when the Rangers went into the last lockout.
Okay.
I did fake recaps for like 30 games or something like that. I came up with these whole long blog posts of fake games. Just doing it on Twitter,
buddy.
So they're not going to be that long.
Do you have enough White Claw? Do we have enough
White
Claw? Do we have enough White Claw to read all through this?
This is what we're going to talk about every Wednesday, the fake playoff scenarios. And we're going to, report on each game and what's going on. And, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Buddy, I'm in. I'm thinking you get yourself, get the suit out of the closet, nice suit and tie. Before Amazon shuts down, I send you over a podium with a mic, and we get the Go Rangers radio logo in front of that podium, a little banner behind you. And
I got the fake playoff beard going, so I started that on Sunday to my wife's chagrin. Yeah. If we were social distancing before I started growing the beard, forget it now. She won't even come in the same room with me anymore.
Oh man!
So and I'm a little, I haven't grown a beard since the last time. Actually, I don't know if I grew one when they were in 17, but maybe the year before. So I haven't grown one in a couple of years. Man, I got some grays coming in, boy. Too many,
dude.
Too many.
My wife calls me the silver fox. Been gray for years. Oh my God! Get ready, buddy. Get ready. It's coming.
Yes, I can. Oh, another thing. Last week we were talking about, my Brad Richards story, and I couldn't remember why, I was discussing the, him being with prostitutes. And my buddy actually called me up and reminded me what it was. You know what it was? Remember, Brad Richards was dating Olivia Munn. Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
she's a bird.
So he wasn't playing well, when he was dating Olivia Munn, and I think she dumped him right before that happened. And he had a great game, so I said, he must have gone out and got some prostitutes to celebrate the big win now that he's single. So that's where that all came from.
Wow. Straight to prostitutes, huh?
Yeah, that's where my head goes.
He couldn't have called up like an ex-girlfriend or something like that. Straight to prostitution.
Yeah, well, it's a little more edgy. Clickbait.
We're talking TM. You got any more TMZ stuff for us, KD? Any other dirt?
It's all about the clickbait, my friend.
Yeah, any other dirt on any of the guys? You got to have something on Fast, right? He looks like a creepy dude, right?
that guy, just drinks milk and eats cookies, before he goes to bed every night. I think he's the most straight edge person probably out there.
Hey, look, buddy, with this stuff going on, and we will continue next week with KD's, and make sure you follow Kevin on Twitter, obviously, for the full recaps of this first round series between the Bruins and the Rangers. And we'll see if Capo can get back on the ice. I'm not surprised with that move, as you know. And, of course...
I did that for you, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing I want to ask you. You see Brooksy? What did Brooksy call... he called Shesterkin a legend in his column the other day. Or that was in the headline. What's that all about? He's not legendary yet.
He's on his way to legendary status,
Come
though.
on.
I mean, more than Georgiev.
Give me a break. Who's got more wins?
Well, he's played more games.
Well, thank you very much. And
If he played the same amount of games, he'd probably have double the wins.
Who has a safe driving record with Geico?
We've discussed this before. We all know that Georgiev is probably in one of the two cars, either crashing the car to get Shesterkin hurt or crashing into the car.
So look, something out of left field here. If when Seattle, they're talking about naming their team name and all that other stuff. I think soon. I mean, what are you hoping for there, KD?
As far as names go,
yeah, Seattle.
Starbucks.
Oh man,
I don't know. I have no idea. Supersonics. Bring it back.
Bring it back.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. There was rumors that it was going to be the Kraken.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, so
I think you got to come up with something better than that.
Yeah, the thing with and I it's I do a show with Liam up in Canada there, and he does a lot of NHL history stuff, and talking about the original six, and obviously the Rangers being a part of that, and tomorrow we're going to be diving into some Ranger Islander history tomorrow, which would be pretty cool. And when you think about some of the teams over the years, I obviously the Mighty Ducks and everything and stuff, as far as team names and even some of the watching Major League Soccer come in here with some of the names that they have and flipping things around and all this stuff. And then, like the NBA, the team from New Orleans, they call themselves the Pelicans and all that other stuff. But, the Vegas Knights coming in, it's a pretty cool name. I always try and think of the name when they hoist the cup. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Ducks did it, and, the Mighty Ducks and all that crap, blah, blah, blah. But what's your take on... If you were running a new franchise, would you want to try and come up with a name? And I ask you this too because we're both into the marketing business and everything else, and branding and all that other stuff. Would you be in the mind frame of trying to go with something like a traditional kind of name, whereas like the Vegas Knights were, as far as the owner's history there with the U.S. Army and West Point and everything else, or do you think Seattle should come out with something goofy and something that they want to have a cool little logo that the kids are going to like to buy the sweaters?
I always like something that the area can identify with. Where with Vegas, it's the Golden Knights. Golden, Knights at night. It does have the, West Point theme to it, but also has, the sort of Vegas theme to it. So I always like a team and again, you have to have something in that area. I was joking with Starbucks, but I don't know the Seattle area very well, but if they do have some type of animal or tree or something, that would sound interesting. I always like to go that way, like initially, before you start going with something a little sort of hokey. As far as the name goes. So, I'd like to see that first, where Seattle has something that's local, that residents in that area or fans in that area can identify with, at least initially. And if they can't find anything, then go on from there. And again, I don't know the Seattle area very well. I mean, I don't know, Seattle Pearl Jams or the the Seattle Grunge. But, and I joke, but something like that, where something that Seattle is known for. I think initially is probably the way to go. But that's what I'd like to see.
Well, so you're excited for it?
The new team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love watering down the league some more. Sure, why not? Watering down the talent. Why not?
We miss it so. I was just looking at, I don't know if did you see it today on the Rangers really put something pretty cool today. It's called Open Door Challenge. And it's this really cool graphic thing where it's, they show somebody, opening a door or a microwave oven or, something in the house or something. And, behind it is a goal by Mika, whatever. They've got all the highlights and stuff, so it's pretty kind of cool. Have you seen that too? Just even outside of just even hockey sports, what have you found so far that's been the most interesting? That whether you've seen somebody being creative, during this, this stay-at-home thing, and maybe even